the mic on. Hello, Peter, are you here? Oh, I missed you. Hi, Eric. Thank you, Peter. All right. Happy, what's today? Thursday. I'm Kiana Sage here for the Bean and Sync 366 video series. And today's video is coming at you based on yesterday's topic. So I'm just gonna wait for people to join in here as I clean my glasses. I also have my chimes with me today. Hey Michelle, good to see you. Like my chime? It's not my drum. Hi Oliver, thanks for being here. All right. You like that? Oh, good. Love it. Thanks for being here. Michelle, I'm not sure if you saw yesterday's video. It was good. Yesterday was good. I actually am looking at my notes from yesterday and hey Matt, good to see you back. I was thinking about what amazing what amazing blessing it was to have you jump in and like help out when I started yesterday, because yesterday was, I think, one of the best for me, one of the best messages that I've done on here. So why I chose to do soul awareness yesterday was because I was just so acutely aware of how many people are disconnected from their soul. And then I remember I got quite emotional when I got to soul purpose. And I think I've been thinking to myself, like, well, why was I so emotional when I got to that part of the discussion and about the questions? And so the questions I had for that was, do I develop myself in the areas that I need to? And like before I did the YouTube live yesterday, I asked myself what were the areas that I needed to develop more in alignment with my changing and ever evolving soul purpose. Because, you know, our purpose evolves as we evolve. We don't stay the same. We are constantly expanding in consciousness when we are aware that we are conscious beings. And when we go up in the dimensional realms of access, you know, our soul gets to as well. Hey, good to see you all here. Thank you for being here. So I just want to say that today's topic was based on yesterday's discussion, and I was quite moved when I got to the aspect of soul purpose and are we on purpose? And the questions that I gave for that was, do I develop myself in the areas that I need? And do I have a clear value system that guides my life? And what I have been acutely aware of with clients that, you know, are really focused on material. So getting that position or that title. Hey, Tammy, good to see you here. I've missed seeing you. And, you know, and I think, you know, we're all growing. So I have no judgment about people that want the title and that people that want to have positional authority. The problem that I see with people who lack the connection to their soul purpose is that they end up just burning out. They get overwhelmed, they get exhausted, they get depleted, and they're not doing their work in alignment with their soul purpose. And that makes me very sad. Sad because it doesn't have to be that way, and yet it's that way for many people. And then they get to their older ages and they are sick and they're ill and they have physical limitations, and those aren't the way that life has to be. It's the way that people have become accustomed because they are I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chats. Matt, are you a lawyer? What does that have to do with anything, Dark Knight? People are so nosy. Now, Matt, we're waiting. Are you a lawyer? Anyways, so let's talk about purpose. Let's talk about why we're all here, Dark Knight. And I have 6 points I want to talk about with the soul connection. And I thought, how could I make this topic something that people could, well, welcome to the club, Matt. I get weird questions all the time. With this chat, these chats are crazy. Okay, so let's stay on point with the questions, y'all. If you have a question about purpose, then great, go for it. Otherwise, leave people alone in the chat and stop asking personal questions, because that's not the purpose of this live, right? This purpose of the live is to be in connection with your soul purpose. And what are the qualities that will help people gain greater alignment and attunement to their soul purpose? So that's how I'm addressing this topic. Hey, Eric, good to see you. Yay, full heart here. And so I'm going to start with the full heart, because when we are in pure connection to our soul purpose, it doesn't matter what the doing aspect is. It doesn't matter if you're a lawyer, if you're an accountant, if you're in sales, it doesn't matter. Are you doing it in connection with your heart? That is the key to being in alignment with your soul purpose. And that will, if you're in connection to your heart, that self-doubt will go away. Insecurity will go away. Your questioning of others in relationship will go away. Why does it not go away? Because people do not have this quality called trust of self. Why don't they trust their self? Because they're disconnected. It's not because they're not wanting to trust themselves. It's that they're thinking that trust is a thought. Okay, so you can't be in alignment to your soul purpose and disconnected. It's impossible. Because when you are in alignment with your soul purpose, there's like a freedom that comes with it that you cannot get from your thinking mind. So it taps you fully into that frequency of trust that we talked about. And that only comes when you're following your heart. Because, and this is point number 3, is like when you follow your heart, you're going to do things that doesn't necessarily make logical sense. Because remember, I've said this in the past about spirituality. It doesn't work in linear ways. So the logical mind way of perceiving the soul and being on purpose is not going to be logical. So it's not going to follow the same path that other people. It's not prescriptive, meaning it's not going to be the same for everybody. So you're going to basically create your own processes. How do I know this? Because this is what I've been doing since I've known how to do it. And I've always taken leaps of faith, and I've always done something called divine interventions, which is how I kind of started doing community service. I started last year. I did divine interventions every quarter, and anybody that wanted to have a divine intervention, I would show them different ways in which they could access the divine within. And that happens when you're in connection to your heart. And that happens when you're in connection with the frequency of trust. Those are two aspects that are cornerstones to following your soul purpose. That means that you don't qualify things of the mind, because when you're trusting, it's not making sense, right? It's just you're following it because that's what you're supposed to do, because that's what your guidance is. So you're going to be connected to your inner guidance system over your egoic mind. The other thing that happens when you are following your soul purpose is that you're not afraid to do a reflection. In fact, you do reflection all the time. It's like an ever evolving adjust and shift, adjust and shift. You know that things change because you change. And so there's a knowingness that you start to attune to, that you tap into this this aspect of reflection to make sure that you're still on pace. So how a musician would use this, if you guys follow music, is like you can tell when a singer is singing from their heart. You can tell when a singer is tapping into that emotion, right? That's what moves people to like musicians, in my opinion, at least for me. And but that's the same thing whether you're doing that as an accountant, which, by the way, most accountants don't have that aspect turned on. But the executives tend to turn that off when in connection to their colleagues and their employees, because they don't want to be perceived as vulnerable. But that's their strength. See, when you are in connection to your soul purpose, your vulnerability is your superpower. That's your strength. That's what people, oh, Michelle, I didn't know you were an accountant. This is making sense. Well, you have made massive progress, Michelle. Congratulations. Because connecting to the heart is not easy. And you have emotions and you're like, well, why am I having these emotions? Most of the time we're having these emotions because they've been suppressed. But that's your superpower, is to be able to access those emotions that you feel when you're in connection to your soul. That's going to redirect you rather quickly. The other thing is you want to ask when you're in connection to your soul purpose is who I am making a difference? Am I making a difference in my job? And if not, I'm not bringing my full self to that job. And if I am a technician at a lab, am I bringing myself fully to my experiments, fully to what I'm doing? Or am I just doing it because it's what I've always done? Am I open to the new potentials of seeing what I'm seeing in the lab? Am I in connection with my comrades who might be disconnected, which is fine to have awareness of their disconnection with non-judgment? But you want to be in connection with, am I making a difference with what I'm doing? Am I making a difference with who I am? Is who I am making a difference? And those three questions should direct whether you are in alignment with your soul purpose. Does that help? And I'm curious, Michelle, since you're on here and you're live, do you consider being an accountant in alignment with your soul purpose? I'm just going to look and see if there's any questions. Oh, Mick, you missed yesterday. Well, it was I thought it was one of the best ones, because I think it's such an important topic to have soul awareness. Oh, thanks, Matt, for putting those nice things in there. And don't spam the chat. Okay, Dark Night. Tonight, the topic is a soul purpose. Mick is saying, when I let it go, I wanted to now, for want of a better words. I don't know what you're saying there, Mick. What? When I let go, okay, you are able to be in the present moment. Oh, Michelle, interesting. Michelle is saying she's an artist but was an accountant. So that's very interesting. What is a soul purpose? S-O-U-L, not S-O-L-E. What is a soul purpose? Well, I just gave the qualities of a soul purpose, but it would be different. Like my soul purpose is different than yours, and mine has evolved significantly. So when I first started doing consulting, I graduated with my master's in leadership development and conflict management, and my forte is conflict management. So you can see why the chat can be feisty at times. And I started working always with engineers. I love technical people. They're my kind of people. Even though they can be somewhat disconnected from my heart, I love taking really esoteric things that they think can't be measured and measuring them and helping them see that their heart connection can change how people relate to them and how we get results, because results happen much faster when you get out of your head and into your heart. Like if you are curious about how to get results, get out of your head. You will get your work done faster, more efficiently, and your employees will be more responsive to you if you are in connection to your heart. However, everybody's comfort zone when they're engineers are in their head. Why? Because they like to figure things out. But that's not how employees respond. They respond to the heart connection, and that is something that happens organically, right? Because you can't force it. So I think it's quite interesting. How do you know if you have a soul purpose? You have one because you're living. So if you are living and breathing, if you're living and breathing, you have a soul purpose. If you're not in connection to it, it will look like you are just going through the motions of life. You're just getting up, going to work. You have your routines. You stick to your routines because you like them. You play it safe. So meaning, MD, what you might want to look at is how often are you taking risks? Because staying in your comfort zone would be a sure sign that you're not in connection to your soul, because your soul thrives on learning and expansion. It does not thrive. In fact, it closes down and constricts when you are in a practice of daily rituals that are very regimented. That will also be like what I would suggest as mentally inflexible. And that would definitely impact how in connection to your soul purpose is. You would find yourself feeling alive, meaning you thrive in uncomfortable situations. It really excites you rather than makes you want to shut down. Oh, I'm in the chat now. Oh, thanks, Matt. Peter is talking about self-indulgence is sickening. That's so interesting, Peter. What a massive judgment you have there. Tell me what about being in connection to the heart is self-indulgent? That's a very interesting perspective. And you could see how people would make judgments on people who follow their heart, right? Because it's foreign to most people. Matt is coming in strong. Don't be rude in the comments. Thank you. Yeah, Michelle, I worked with engineers and did very well. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's a different type of environment working with engineers. I really enjoy people who are analytical, because you can put measures in place. And that was one of the things that I did yesterday is, on a scale of 0 to 10, how aligned to your soul purpose are you? And you will know by the amount of joy that you have in your day. Like that, you just being alive is a miracle. People who aren't in connection to their soul purpose are struggling on a regular basis, like struggling. They will have a lot of physical pain, they will have a lot of mental pain, and they will have a lot of emotional pain. And some of them will be so disconnected from the pain. They will be very disconnected from their sadness, and they will be very disconnected in conversation and be okay with being disconnected. How big do you inspire to be? The world is hearing you, but a global scale, people need to really see and hear you. I'm T Mill. I think that's an interesting question because I got on these YouTubes not because I wanted to, because I got on here because I just wanted to help one person. And I really felt like if anything that I said helped one person, like I was doing what needed to be done. And I think my perspective is quite unique, and I put out information on topics that I wish I had when I was learning about myself, when I was looking to grow. Even now, as I prepare for these chats on here, I look to still learn. Like what am I intuiting would be most helpful for people to be on their purpose. I don't want to make things so untangible that people can't apply their soul purpose to every aspect of their life. How am I being in alignment with my soul purpose, with my family, with my friends, with my work? And if I am off by even a percentage, I want to know where, like one of my values is digging deep. I know my values. And if I do a YouTube and I feel like I didn't go deep enough for myself, then I'm like challenging myself the next day to come in more with a more authentic way of being for myself. How that's received, I don't know. It's interesting because different people perceive this data differently. Like somebody thinks being in connection to your heart is selfish. I think it's okay to be selfish. I think selfish has got a bad rap. I think selfish is a way that people bully other people by saying you're selfish. It's a way to bully people. I don't receive it that way because I don't really care what other people think about following their heart. That somebody that's saying it's selfish is telling me that they're disconnected, that they think it's okay to be disconnected and in service for others. And I'm thinking, well, how is being in service to others good when you're doing it out of obligation? That has a frequency. Go talk to anybody who's on their deathbed. They can tell when people are inauthentic. MD is saying, I'm very lazy. Can you tell me how to get out of my comfort zone? Why are you lazy? I mean, why are you checking out of life? Lazy, what do you sit on YouTube and watch Netflix or TV all day long? I mean, is that your life? Why? Hey, Germany. Oh, Matt's German. All right, we got a little language going on here. Oh, no. Somebody's saying they lost everything this morning. Well, you're alive and you're on YouTube, so you have not lost your will to scroll. Okay, MD. So when you connect to your heart, what do you feel? If you feel emptiness, that means that you're disconnected. Okay? So if you feel your heart beating, that means that you are perceiving the pumping of your heart. But if you're feeling empty, then you're empty. Michelle is saying, I don't know what my soul purpose is. So if you want to find out what your soul purpose is, the qualities are going to be in connection to your heart. It's going to require taking risks. So that means you're going to be vulnerable and you're going to be uncomfortable. Okay? And then you will be reconnected to your soul. Identifying what the soul purpose is going to happen through your learning. And how you do your learning process could be unique to you. In my opinion, learning intellectually is not as powerful as learning experientially. And then, Michelle, you want to reflect on what it is that you did that took you out of your comfort zone. So I would say, all right, Matt's got some advice for you. Go to the gym. Get out of your rut. Okay, I figured MD, it's not full. Because you're not fully living. When you are in connection to your heart and it feels empty, it feels maybe sad, or I don't want to put words in your mouth, but when you feel like your heart is sad and you don't want to acknowledge the sadness, it will feel empty. So the first thing I would say is acknowledge the sadness and then ask yourself, what is the one thing that's been on my mind that I want to do that I feel uncomfortable doing because I don't know how to do it? And then, Michelle, you ask yourself the same question too. Like, what is the one thing that you've had on your mind that you want to do that you haven't done? And it's going to be something that needs to be done. Like, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's usually a conversation that's very uncomfortable. It's not jumping out of an airplane, although that can work. It is going to be having a meaningful, heartfelt conversation that you've probably been avoiding for fear of whatever the fear is. And so you want to address that. And Matt, what I would say is that the gym is good to build muscle strength. Absolutely. But it doesn't fix lazy. But what Matt is saying is that you must have some kind of physical movement to get the heart pumping, to feel that aliveness. And I think it's important that you do it, even the gym, from your heart. So I remember when I used to go to the I work out at home now most of the time now, but when I used to go to the gym, people would come up to me all the time in the gym. Not because I'm the prettiest girl in the gym, not because I was the most in shape girl, because I was there with my heart open. I was in connection to my heart. I was doing what I love to do. And people are interested in other people who are connected to the heart, regardless of what they're doing. Now, how do you put this into your work? If you want your job to be easier, if you want people to be collectively working cohesively, when you present things from the heart, they hear it different. Messages come and received differently when you deliver it from your heart. If you're just telling them what to do and they're not getting it, it's because they're dense. Not dense in the head, they have a lot of heavy energy, and that density stops information from going in. But when people are connected to the heart, it actually sends a different frequency. Hey, Sanjan, good to see you. Sanjan, I think I'm saying it. Sajan. Good to see you here. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for being here again, and thanks for saying hello. Mick is saying, I had an ego I thought the world wanted. Yes, good for you, Mick. You understand the ego mind tells you lies. And the world does like people in the ego. Who likes people in the ego the most? The people that want to control you, right? That's how you know you're in disconnection from your soul, is because when you're in the ego mind, you are so much more easily manipulated. When you have rigid thinking, easily manipulable. You're predictable. People like predictable because it's easily manipulated. Okay? What I really knew all along is that I have a pure loving heart now, and I find out where I can put myself to use in life now. Yes. Yes. Well, Michelle, wherever you go, you are, so you can't run away. And I wonder if going to Costa Rica was not just about being uncomfortable, but was getting away. You know, and there you go, there you have yourself. So wherever you go, there you are. And Mick, good for you for understanding how the ego infiltrates and influences your purpose. And the meaning of life is going to be different for all of us. But Mick, what I would ask you to do is like look at your pure, open, loving heart. And now I want you to look at, because that's who you are, right? Look at where is it constrict. And that's where you want to push through those areas. That's how you know that those are the areas where you can grow in your purpose and adjust and be even better. Is soul purpose esoteric? It is for a lot of people that don't know they have a soul. Like yesterday in the chat, there were people who were saying that they don't feel like they didn't believe in a soul. And then when I asked, how do you know? I didn't get a response. So I don't think it's esoteric. I think it's part of why we're here. It's how we grow. It's how we expand. It's absolutely part of our access to higher consciousness. Because when we don't have all of our soul, when our soul gets fractured, right? So we come into this life and there are pieces that get fractured for whatever reason, and however you believe in the fracturing, gets stolen, taken, obscured, subverted away from you. When you went into consent for things that you didn't realize you consented to, happens all the time. You have to call back all the pieces of your soul. And I would, for any of you who are struggling to be in connection with your soul, I would say that would be step number one. You know, every day and every night, calling back all the pieces of your soul. Once all the pieces, and you command them back as the rightful owner. Once you get all the pieces of your soul back in, you will feel different. You will feel more grounded. You will feel more self-assured without having any data to prove it. You're just going to feel it. It's going to be a sensing. So anybody on here that feels like they're disconnected from their soul, that would be something to look at doing. And if you suffer from something, so somebody suffering from obsessive compulsive disorder, this is an issue of the mind, for sure. And most people don't have mental discipline. And I know that could be quite intrusive in your life. So I wouldn't know exactly how to direct you on your particular issue, because it's very much the same as addiction from my perspective, and I don't know if you see it that way, but obsessive compulsiveness is a disconnection from the heart, and it's a lack of self-love. And it could be put more complicated than that, and I'm sure you can read a novel upon novel upon novel about addiction, But at its root, the causation is going to be self-hate, lack of love, hate of women, and hate of men. There's going to be a lot of hate going on with addiction, any addiction. And I would put obsessive compulsive in that category. And so I would suggest, really learning what is self-love. How can I love myself more today? What does self-love look like? What does hating others do to serve you? Because the compulsion is to satisfy a need. What is the need? It's a lack of love. MD is saying I need to study more, but I don't. That makes me sad. Well, why don't you study by doing reflection on yourself? That won't make you sad. That'll make you more aware. So every day, ask yourself, what did I learn today? Where do I need to grow more? What did I do that was on point? What did I do that needs correction, that I need to grow and do better? So for me, I think I'm a great listener, but I still practice listening. And I practice listening differently now than I did before, because I want to be a better listener. And so I think I'm better than average listener. I would say I'm an exceptional listener, and I still think that I can listen better. So I can still grow. So every day you look at, well, where do I need to focus now? And where am I? So for example, yesterday's live, I got off and I was like, okay, where do I need to grow to be more in alignment with my soul purpose? I need to learn more about biology. Okay, well, science was never my favorite thing, but I want to learn and grow, and I need to understand my own biology better. And I've been doing this work now for, 25 years, but I've been doing my work differently for the last 10 years. And I've always been guided to these terms about biology that I get intuitively. And I don't even know how to spell these words. I just have to I phonetically spell them out. And then I have to go and look and see, well, what is that word and what does that mean? And then I have to interpret, well, what is the lesson there? What do I need to learn about my biology? Is it a particular kind of biology? Is it really about cellular biology? Is it more about my connection with the sun, which is what I've been drawn to? Because I've been changing my relationship with the sun. And the sun is huge for our health and our biology. But is that something I've always known? Yes. Is it something that I'm being drawn to go into, get more information about, to support that and learn what it is I need to learn? I don't know. I'm still learning it. It was something that just came up yesterday I hadn't considered until I wrote all those questions and started asking those same questions to myself. So I'm just not posing this stuff to you guys. I'm doing the work. And that's what I would suggest. If you're working with somebody, whether it's a therapist or a psychologist or a counselor or a coach or somebody who does healing work like I do, you want to make sure you're working with somebody who is doing their own work. And MD, I'm going to say I want to congratulate you on acknowledging that you have elements of sadness within you. What you think the sadness is about doesn't matter as much as you have the sadness. And that sadness needs awareness and acknowledgement so it can transmute and you can live more fully. The person with is rearranging and doing rehygiene over and over again. Yes, this is a lack of self-love. There's something that you feel that is not lovable as you are, so that's why you do those things. So the focus for you from now until forever, until it changes, is self-love. How do I love myself more? Not how do I clean myself differently. It's how do I love myself as I am? And, an exercise might be to make yourself uncomfortable and go roll in the dirt. And then allow the dirt to just sit on your skin for a period of time. And you feel what it's like to have those healthy microbes on your body, getting reconnected with the earth. That would be a simple, cost-effective thing to do. that nobody's going to say anything about. The only person that knows it's going to be doing that is you. All right. Mick is getting up to do some push-ups now. Congratulations. Hi, Zane. Good to see you here. Love. The spirit never dies, indeed. Who is my favorite singer? I don't have one, but I guarantee you it's not Celine Dion. I promise you that. Pablo, is this Pablo? Buenas noches. Oh, I look smart. Don't be fooled. Do not be fooled by looks. Is meditation and breathing exercises useful? I would say conscious breathing exercises are formative, and they will help significantly. But because you have the issue that you have, I would say it would be important to not make it too long to where you go into your head. So start with 5 to 10 minutes and do 5 to 10 minutes 4 times a day. And I would do that for like a month and then see how that goes. Hello, Amsterdam. Oh, FedEx is here. Okay, you guys, hold on. I got to get the door. Okay, Sajan is saying the very difficult part is to make the heart and the brain in sync with oneself. I've been trying. Your videos are very much motivating. Okay, this is a very important aspect. I hope you guys can hear me. It says it's on. So the heart and the brain always are working in unison. What I would suggest is that you want to command your heart to lead over your mind. Now, I know that sounds unconventional because we've been taught that our intellect is more powerful than our heart. But you want to start to practice, Sanjan, how to allow your heart to lead. So you might start by intellectualizing this aspect by saying, okay, my heart wants to do this, but my mind wants to do that. And that might be a simple way for you to distinguish the feeling of being in the heart and in the mind. And then do that for, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe like 5 days, like just with that little practice. Okay, my heart is saying this. And so that is going to train your mind into listening to your heart. What does my heart want? So let's just say you're going to go to a restaurant or you're going somewhere for dinner, and you would look at, what does my heart want to eat? You would look at the menu and say, oh, what does my heart want to eat? Not does what my mind want me to eat, or not what am I conditioning myself to eat because these people say if I eat like this, then I'll be like that. You want to listen to your heart. What is your heart resonating with? And just by asking the question repeatedly for 4 or 5 days, it's going to start to retrain your brain and how the neurosynapses are running. Okay, so that would be like a great beginner step for everybody here that's really looking on, how do I listen to my heart? What does that practice look like? So you would start with simple things like the food that you eat, because you eat every day. Most of us eat more than once a day. So every day looking at what's going to fulfill my heart in the food, not what do I think I should eat. And you'll notice you'll eat different foods. You'll crave different things when you're listening to your heart. And you will also notice when your mind comes in to judge you over listening to your heart because, oh, if I eat this, then I'll get fat. Those kinds of stories. And that's why you want to really check in. Well, what does my heart What does my heart say? What does my mind say? And that will start to train you to tune into your heart frequency more often. So let's just say you do that with food for 5 days, and then you want to advance. So what would be an advanced thing? I'm going to write all my emails from my heart and see how my language changes. And so you start to experiment. Maybe you don't think you have time to do all your emails from your heart. Maybe you just do one email a day or one text message a day. And that text message has to resonate 100% within your heart. How do you know that it'll resonate? The word, you'll change the wording will be very different from your heart than your mind. Okay? So that would be more advanced. So you would do that like, and I think most of you, if you're here, you're more advanced than the average folks. So you could try this out simultaneously if you dare. And then you would go on to, well, what's the next thing? What's more important to resonate in your heart is, what are the difficult conversations that need to be had that I've been avoiding? Why am I avoiding those things? Is it just because I don't want to have the conversation? Or is it that I'm afraid to be in my heart with this particular person? Okay, well, I'm all about facing fear, so do it anyway. Have the conversation from your heart anyway. That's called taking a risk with a low threshold. You're going to come out on the live by having a conversation, even if you have it over the phone, or maybe the conversation is an email that needs to be spoken from your heart. You send it to the person and then say, hey, can you read that email? Let's get on the phone and talk about the email. And so you kind of experiment. And what you'll notice is that your heart is going to be alive. That's how you know that you're being in connection to your soul. You're doing things that are resonant. Hey, Salvo, it's been a while. Good to see you. We've missed you here. KR is saying, hey, lady, I am depressed. Well, I would say, first of all, that is quite the introduction. And you must be really depressed in order to write it here. So what I would say is, are you willing to let go of that identifier of who you are? And if you are, then these are the practices that I've just described will help you get out of that depression, because it's going to kick you into being alive. Oliver. No, I'm not a Celine. She's not my favorite. KR is a biology student. Oh, all right. I would say, that maybe biology is not really fulfilling your heart, and that is what is causing the issue for you. And being in school could be quite regimented, and it does not allow for mental flexibility, and that might also be part of the issue of depression. And also educational, like college, really is highly competitive, and people tend to compare themselves with other people. Oliver's letting everybody know that his favorite food is Neapolitan margarita pizza. See, but Oliver, that's your go-to food, is it not? Is that really what your heart wants? Shark is saying, I'm trying for almost 2 years to quit weed. Well, if you've been trying for 2 years, I'd say you need to try a new approach. So, Shark, your approach is not working because you're not addressing the actual thing that is an issue. And the issue is that you're disconnected from your soul purpose, which is why you would be smoking, why it's so important for you to do these other behaviors is because you're trying to self-satisfy. So going back to what I said about addiction, it's always going to come back to a lack of love, a lack of self-love, a lack of, it's going to also be a hate of women maybe, and a hate of men. And I hate to say the word hate, but that's the truth. There's a lot of people that hate people, and therefore they numb. Numbing is a way of doing it. So what the addiction is real. I think your challenge is a worthy one. But I also think that you're up for a challenge. So the challenge would be to be in connection to your heart when you're trying to do those other things and see if it satisfies you the same. So you could do an experiment if you want. So I'm not going to tell you to go cold turkey, but I will tell you to do those things from your heart. And if you're in pure connection for your heart, those things won't resonate. Why do I know that? Because the soul wants to live and thrive, and anything that is stifling, like an addiction, will cut off life force. Anything with an inundation of the senses, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, is going to be like a suffocation of the soul. Absolutely. That's why even sleeping pills, I used to travel a lot, and oh my gosh, people take a lot of sleeping pills to sleep on the plane. And those are one of the worst things that you could do for yourself spiritually. Not that the other stuff isn't bad for you, but sleeping pills in particular change how we astral travel, and it actually leaves you completely wide open and vulnerable to nefarious energies. So you're saying, Shark is saying that they can leave it for about a couple weeks or a whole month, but then you relapse again. Well, first of all, congratulations for trying to do it, but I'm not telling you to cut it off. What I'm telling you is make a new rule for yourself. If I'm going to do this, I need to be in pure connection to my heart. And I don't think you're going to masturbate if you're in connection to your heart. You won't. Why? Because it's going to feel inorganic, because it's not connected to love. And I'm not even going to ask what you're using to do that, but those, if you're watching porn, that is a manipulation of the male species. Yes, women can be manipulated too, but it's directed specifically at men. So just know that you are being manipulated, and you are, it's creating a weakness in your psyche, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And so if you don't want to be weak, you're going to have to really just say, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to be I'm going to go 100% into my heart, and I'm not going to care what anybody says. If I need to do something, I'm going to do it in connection to my heart. And what you do will change because you're in connection to your heart. Anyways, so that's what I have to say about soul purpose. The reason why I wanted to come back to this topic is because yesterday I got really emotional about it, because I see other people. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that, Shark. I had a sense of that. Yep. Another word for what you're saying is that you could go look up MK Ultra. I know you're not going to like that, but that's what's happening. Yeah, Mick is supporting you. Like, You got to take your life back. That means that you go fully into your heart, and also you start to really direct your life. Don't let it be directed, because those maybe just for fun, why don't you just go research how that actually originated? You will be so shocked and surprised of what the origin of those films are. And it was, the origin is to create a mechanism in which young men mostly can be controlled. So anyways, going back to soul purpose and being connected to your purpose. The way that you can tell if you're in pure connection to your heart and to your purpose is that your life will be exceptionally fulfilled. You will be more joyful, more connected, and happier with the quality of your life. Yeah, Matt saying read George Orwell. Have you read Chaos, Matt? It's a very long one, but that might be interesting to you. I used to send to some of my clients some of the documents that released about some of how mind control works. It's extremely long. You could get it on tape. It's actually free on YouTube if you are interested. Because it really helps to understand how people get manipulated, how Hollywood has been infiltrated for many, many years. And it's very uncomfortable for people to have these awarenesses, but it's better to have it than to not. Shark is saying, yeah, I would recommend Chaos, and Matt is recommending George Orwell's 1984. I haven't read that one. Nefarious. Mick is asking to say nefarious. Anyways, so what else is most important about being in alignment with your soul purpose is to answer the questions that I posed yesterday. And I'm going to read them again. Where do I need to develop myself to grow? What areas do I need to develop myself to grow? So for the people on here, it's about self-love. And you don't read a book about self-love, you start practicing self-love. And if you don't know how to do self-love, then you go learn. You Google it. What does it look like for me? What brings me joy? Where's my alignment? Go from there. And I would say the Chaos book is good. It's long, but it's detailed and it's really good. And I also just saw a video that I think is such a good video. I don't even know how to post it in here. If you send me an email, I will send you the video. How about that? Mick is saying, I've been through so much. If I can get where I am in 1 year, you can make the changes too. Yeah, it's commitment. It's a commitment for sure. All right, y'all. Well, I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you, Peter, Oliver, and Matt for being in here. I really appreciate those books. I think you can recommend on audio. Shark, one of the other books that I recommend is Keeping the Love You Find. I recommend that regularly because it's a solid book in getting to know yourself. And since you have some addiction type behaviors, it'll help you understand the origin of where the lack of love comes from in your perceptions. And it can also help you to shift through your conscious awareness. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate you. Do you have any suggestions for tomorrow's topic? What's relevant in your life right now? Help me out. I usually feel into these topics, but I'm curious. No topic suggestions, you guys. Leaving me hanging. Peter, you've given me a lot. I just wonder if continually talking about trauma, does it really help? Because part of me thinks it doesn't. Is it helping? Is my perspective on it helpful? John Jansen is asking about snakes. It's so interesting that you asked that, because in homeopathic care, snakes are very interesting. It's a constitution. It's called lachesis. And snake energy, if you look at the medical world, they've utilized snake energy for people. Why? Because it's reptilian. Have you looked up what reptilian energy is? If not, that might be something of interest for you. Shark is asking about willpower. Oh, thanks, Matt. Willpower, it's interesting that you're asking about willpower, because willpower is different than empowerment. Willpower is a function of the mind. It's like mind over matter. It's disconnecting from everything that is to go into what the mind is supposed to be directing. And it's basically, Shark, the opposite of everything that I'm suggesting here, which is to be in pure connection to your heart. And so you want to be empowered from inside. And that's where strength comes. All the things that I talk about on this video is about creating inner strength, not this perceived willpower. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for your time. See you tomorrow for the Being in Sync 366 video series. Thanks again, Matt. Really appreciate you being here. Appreciate you showing up in the chat and being so helpful. Okay, empowerment is the topic for tomorrow. Thank you, Peter. Okay, that is it. Okay, everybody go work out. Drop and do 50. You all have a great day. Bye.